They say the imperial palace was built on the bones of ancient gods, but on the night of the winter solstice, it became nothing more than a magnificent pyre for the innocent. The grand silk tapestries of the Phoenix Palace, embroidered with golden threads that took artisans decades to weave.
Why, Li Chen, I gave you everything. My family's army, my father's wealth, my own heart. We swore an oath before heaven. Why are you doing this to me? Zuer, you were my sister. I loved you like my own flesh and blood.
Why? My dear sister, look at yourself. You had everything from the moment you were born. The grand lineage, the adoration of the court, the crown of the future empress. You stood exactly where I belonged. Did you truly believe a bastard daughter like me would content herself with your leftover scraps forever?
The Lin clan's military influence was too vast, y8y. An emperor cannot sit comfortably on a throne when his wife's family commands more loyalty than his own crown. Your father and brothers were executed at the city gates 3 hours ago. The throne requires absolute sacrifice.
Fabricated treason. We bled for your borders. If heaven has eyes, Li Chen. If there is a cycle of reincarnation, I swear upon my soul, I will claw my way back from the deepest depths of hell. I will tear down your dynasty, and I will make you beg for the mercy you denied my family tonight.
A sudden, violent gasp cuts through the silence. The terrifying roar of the consuming fire vanishes in an instant, replaced by the tranquil, gentle whistling of a morning wind and the distant, peaceful chirping of birds outside an imperial garden.
Panting heavily, terrified, whispering, "The fire, where is the fire? Li Chen, by Zhu, my chest. It doesn't burn anymore. Where am I?"
She looks down at her trembling hands. They are smooth, unblemished, completely free of ash or blood. Resting snugly against her wrist is a brilliant green jade bracelet. It is a family heirloom artifact she watched Baizu personally smash into pieces right before her execution.
Realization hitting her, eyes wide with cold shock. This is impossible. My hands, my room. It looks exactly as it did 3 years ago, before the crown prince asked for my hand in marriage. Did the gods listen to my curse? Did my soul truly survive the pyre? It is the year of the spring equinox. The betrayal hasn't happened yet. My father is still alive. My brothers are safe. Heaven didn't just remember my vow. It gave me the weapons to execute it. Li Chen, Baizu, your countdown to ruin begins today.
The imperial mid-autumn feast was a sea of unfathomable opulence. Underneath the glowing warmth of thousands of silk lanterns, hundreds of high-ranking nobles gathered to drink, laugh, and toast to the prosperity of the empire. Musicians played grand, sweeping melodies on traditional stringed instruments, masking the deadly political schemes whispered behind delicate lace fans.
Namanalog. Look at them. 3 years from now, half of these nobles will join Li Chen to execute my family. They drink our wine today, and tomorrow they will demand our blood. But this Jimmy I will not sit quietly like a lamb waiting for the slaughter.
Suddenly, a familiar, sickeningly sweet voice breaks through the music. Gliding through the crowd like a harmless sparrow is Lady Baizu. She wears an innocent, bright smile, rushing forward to wrap her arms around y8y in a warm, sisterly embrace.
Dripping with fake affection and sweet concern. y8y, my dearest sister, I have been searching the entire palace grounds for you all evening. I noticed you haven't touched a single lotus cake, and your face looks quite pale. Are you feeling unwell, sister? You know how easily my heart breaks whenever I see you suffer even a little.
Inner thought. Suffer in my past life. Your embrace felt warm. Now, it feels like a poisonous snake wrapping around my throat. I can still smell the burning embers of the palace on you. I can still hear your laughter over my father's execution. Out loud, pulling back with a flawless, polite smile. You worry far too much, Zuer. I am perfectly fine. I merely had a long, exhausting nightmare recently. One where I watched a hidden, treacherous beast tear apart everything I loved while I stood by blindly. But you needn't worry. The nightmare is over, and I have finally, completely woken up.
Baizu's perfect smile noticeably falters. A flicker of genuine confusion and deep, sudden unease passes through her eyes as she tries to read the unreadable, chilling expression hidden beneath the princess's beautiful face.
Eh? A beast? What a strange, silly dream, sister. You shouldn't let such dark thoughts cloud your mind on such a beautiful celebration night.
Of course, there is no doubt about it. After all, dreams are simply warnings from heaven, guiding us towards what's hidden within. Now that I have an accurate description of the mysterious beast, I am also aware of the best way to hunt it down and capture it.
Deep within the bamboo forest on the outskirts of the northern border lay an abandoned imperial villa, hidden from both Li Chen's spies and the local authorities. Rain lashed against the paper windows as Princess Yuexin's trusted servants frantically prepared hot water and medicinal herbs. On the wooden bed, Prince Murongyan lay unconscious, his bare chest bruised and blackened by the spreading shadow poison.
Inner thought. The viper's shadow poison. In my past life, the imperial physicians spent months trying to find an antidote, only to fail. But they didn't know that the cure wasn't a rare herb, it was the correct sequence of acupuncture to drain the stagnant, poisoned blood from the heart. I spent years studying medical texts in the cold palace just to survive. Today, that misery becomes my greatest weapon.
With steady, unblinking hands, Yuexin drove silver needles into the prince's pressure points. Black, foul-smelling blood began to seep from the wounds, dripping heavily into a brass basin. The boundary between life and death hung by a single thread. Suddenly, Murongyan's eyes snap open. In a fit of delirious, survival-driven instinct, his massive hand shoots out and tightly clamps around Yuexin's throat, pinning her down.
Gasping for air, voice raspy and dangerous, eyes wild with fever. Who are you? A ghost, an assassin. If I am going to hell, I am dragging you down with me.
Choking slightly, but keeping her eyes completely calm, and I scold. Let go, you foolish Wolf. If I wanted you dead, I would have left you in the mud for the crows. I am draining the poison. Look at the basin.
Murongyan blinks through the fever sweat, looking down at the black blood. Realizing she is saving him, his grip relaxes, and he falls back onto the pillows, panting heavily. The dangerous aura around him doesn't fade, but it turns into a calculated, sharp curiosity.
A delicate princess who knows forbidden northern assassination medical arts. You are a walking contradiction, Lin Yuexin. What is your price? Imperial royals don't save dying generals out of charity.
Wiping her hands on a silk cloth, with a smirk. Simple. I give you your life, full immunity from the poison, and the exact names of the traitors in your own camp who sold your location to Li Chen in return when the time comes. Your Northern Iron Cavalry will march on the capital not for the Emperor, but for me.
The room fell into a heavy, suffocating silence, broken only by the sound of rain. Murongyan stared at the young woman before him, realizing that the most dangerous predator in the Empire wasn't a warlord on a battlefield, but the elegant princess standing right in front of him. Back in the imperial capital, the sun set over the grand estate of Lord Li Chen, casting long, blood-red shadows across his private study. Inside, the air was suffocatingly heavy, smelling faintly of burnt ink and stale tea. Li Chen stood by his desk, his usual calm, scholarly facade completely shattered. On the floor before him, a wounded shadow assassin knelt in the dark, trembling as he delivered the catastrophic news from the northern border.
Slamming his fist on the desk, voice trembling with pure, unbridled rage. What do you mean? He escaped. A dozen of my finest shadow guards, armed with the deadly viper's poison, against one single, unarmored general. And you let him slip away? Who interfered? Speak, before I feed your tongue to the hounds.
Terrified, coughing violently, whispering in agony.
My lord, a heavily armored carriage. It burst through our tight formation in the dead of night. The Imperial guards shielding it were elite, moving with lethal precision. They snatched the prince from the mud before the poison could claim his heart. We couldn't trace the carriage. It vanished into the mountain fork like a phantom.
Breathing heavily, pacing back and forth, talking to himself. An armored carriage, Imperial guards. No. This wasn't a coincidence. Someone knew, someone anticipated the exact hour of my strike. But how? The border march was classified under 3 seals of the Ministry of War.
With a harsh wave of his hand, Li Chen dismissed the bleeding guard, collapsing into his heavy mahogany chair. The silence that followed was deafening, broken only by the crackle of a dying candle. Panic, cold and sharp, began to take root in his mind. For 3 years, every single piece on his chessboard had moved exactly according to his grand design. But now, an invisible hand was rewriting his script from the dark.
Internal thoughts. It makes absolutely no sense. No one knew the route Murongyuan was taking except my absolute inner circle. Could it be Lady Baizu? No, she is too foolish, too wrapped up in her petty rivalry with Princess Yuexin to orchestrate a military rescue. Then who? Unless there is a traitor hiding in my own shadow guard, or worse. Someone deep inside the Imperial Palace already knows my true ambitions.
He gripped his teacup so tightly that the fine porcelain began to crack, spiderweb fractures spreading beneath his fingers. If Murongyuan returned to the Imperial capital alive, healed of the poison, his battle-hardened northern iron cavalry would march south and tear Li Chen's ambitions to absolute pieces. He had to act. He had to uncover the mastermind before his own neck met the executioner's blade. The very next morning, trying to maintain his perfect, gentle reputation, Li Chen attended the Imperial Garden's poetry reading. The morning air was crisp, carrying the sweet scent of blooming plum blossoms. Yet, as he walked down the white marble pathway, his heart suddenly stopped. Standing by the ancient lotus pond, elegantly tossing breadcrumbs to the golden koi fish, was Princess Lin Yuexin. She wore a pristine, unbothered smile, but as he approached, her eyes locked onto his with an icy, knowing depth.
Lord Li Chen, what a pleasant surprise. Though, I must say, you look dreadfully exhausted today. Your eyes are bloodshot, and your posture is wound as tight as a bowstring. Tell me, did something, completely unexpected, ruin your peaceful sleep last night?
Forcing a smooth, charming smile, bowing low to hide his eyes. Your Highness worries too much. I was merely reviewing the old agricultural tax records late into the night, a mundane duty for the peace of the Empire. There is nothing to trouble your gentle heart. Laughing softly, turning her back to him to feed the fish. Tax records. Tax records. How diligent. But you should take care of yourself, Lord Li. After all, when a man loses control of his own game, He tends to make fatal mistakes. He begins to see traitors in every shadow, missing the real hunter standing right in front of him.
Li Chen's breath hitched completely in his throat. The wind rustled the lotus leaves, making the water ripple aggressively. Looking at the beautiful princess, a terrifying, suffocating realization began to dawn on him. The naive, easily manipulated girl he thought he could use as a stepping stone to the throne ... was gone. Midnight fell over the hidden medical courtyard. While Prince Murangian rested, his fever finally breaking under the care of the silver needles, Princess Lin Yuexin sat at a small wooden desk. The room was illuminated by a single, flickering beeswax candle that cast dancing shadows against the walls. In her hands was a weathered, leather-bound ledger, a prize she had stolen from her past life's memory.
Inner thought. Li Chen thinks his power comes from his clever words and his scholarly reputation. But I know the truth. His entire political faction is funded by one man, Marquis Zhou, the corrupt regional governor of the Southern Silk Route. In my past life, Marquis Zhou used smuggling routes to funnel millions of gold taels into Li Chen's private treasury, buying the loyalty of the imperial guards. Out loud, whispering to her shadow god, Zuer, take my imperial seal. Send a coded message to the Ministry of Revenue. Inform them that a massive shipment of tribute silk, leaving the southern border tomorrow morning, is actually carrying smuggled salt and illegal iron. Let the imperial inspectors do my dirty work for me.
2 days later, the trap snapped shut with devastating precision. In the grand reception hall of the Zhou estate, Marquis Zhou paced the floor so furiously that his heavy silk robes rustled like dry leaves. The air was thick with the scent of burning incense, but it did nothing to soothe the frantic beating of his heart. On the table lay an official imperial seizure decree, stamped in cold, uncompromising black ink.
Panicked, sweating heavily, throwing a few porcelain vases to the floor. Seized every single carriage. 3 million gold taels worth of merchandise confiscated by the Ministry of Revenue in broad daylight. How did the inspectors know the exact hidden compartments? How did they know the secret mountain passes we used? This is ruin, absolute financial ruin.
Before the Marquis could summon his guards, the heavy oak doors of his hall slowly creaked open. Stepping through the threshold, completely unannounced, was Princess Lin Yuexin. She was flanked by 4 elite imperial guards, her presence radiating an aura of absolute, terrifying authority.
Stuttering, quickly bowing, wiping sweat from his forehead. To Princess Yuexin, to what do I owe the immense honor of your unexpected visit? I am currently dealing with a grave bureaucratic misunderstanding regarding my shipping merchants.
Interrupting smoothly, sitting down in the Marquis's own high chair. It is not a misunderstanding. Marquis Zhu, it was an execution, and I am the one who signed the order.
The Marquis froze, the blood completely draining from his face. The silence in the room became heavy enough to suffocate a man. He stared at the young princess, realizing with absolute horror that his life was entirely in her hands.
I know about the gold you smuggled for Li Chen. I know about the treasonous letters hidden beneath your floorboards. Tomorrow, the Emperor will receive either those letters or your public declaration of loyalty to my
Choose
imperial
wisely.
house. Marquis, do you wish to hang from the city gates as a traitor with Li Chen, or do you wish to keep your wealth and serve the future empress?
Marquis Zhou dropped to his knees, his forehead hitting the cold marble floor in total submission. Li Chen's financial foundation had just been completely demolished, and he didn't even know the first brick had fallen. The Grand Imperial Throne Room was a cavern of suffocating silence. High-ranking officials stood into perfect parallel rows, their heads bowed as heavy morning light filtered through the massive golden pillars. At the front of the hall sat the aging emperor, looking down with a tired, heavy gaze. Suddenly, breaking the silence, Lord Li Chen steps forward into the center aisle, holding a scroll with trembling, aggressive determination.
Voice ringing out, filled with fake righteous indignation and urgency. Your Imperial Majesty, I step forward today with a heavy heart to expose a cancer growing within our very walls. I hold in my hand official military requisitions proving that General Linda, commander of the Capital Guard and father to Princess Yuexin, has been secretly funneling Imperial weapons to the northern border rebels. This is high treason, Your Majesty. I demand his immediate arrest.
A collective, horrified gasp echoed through the court. Officials began whispering furiously behind their wide sleeves. Standing near the front, General Lin's face turned pale with shock, completely blindsided by the fabricated evidence. Li Chen turned his head slightly, casting a sharp, victorious smirk directly toward Princess Lin Yuexin, who stood elegantly among the royal family. He thought he had trapped her. He thought that by destroying her father, he would regain control of the Empire's chessboard.
Inner smug. Thought you cut off my gold from Marquis Zhou. Yuexin, a brilliant move, I admit. But you are still just a girl playing at politics. While you were counting coins, I forged a perfect paper trail. Your father will be dragged to the dungeons today, and your family's legacy will burn to ash. Let's see you smile your way out of this one.
But Princess Yuexin did not flinch. Instead, she stepped forward into the center aisle, her heavy silk robe sweeping across the marble floor. Her face was a mask of pure, unbothered tranquility, her eyes gleaming with a terrifying calmness.
Out loud, her voice calm, clear, and perfectly steady. Lord Li Chen's dedication to the safety of the Empire is truly touching. However, Your Imperial Majesty, Lord Li seems to have brought the wrong scroll. The weapons he speaks of were not funneled to rebels. They were personally ordered by me, using my Imperial seal, to replenish the frontline supplies of the Northern Iron Cavalry.
Stuttering, his smile completely vanishing. What? What? Preposterous. Princess Yuexin, you have no authority over military logistics. You are fabricating lies to shield your traitorous father.
Leaning in close, whispering sharply so only he can hear. I have all the authority I need. Chens, because unlike you, I didn't forge my paperwork. Out loud, turning to the Emperor and bowing gracefully. Father, the Northern Iron Cavalry was secretly ambushed for days ago by masked assassins using Forbidden's poisons. If I had not sent those elite guards and weapons to rescue the commanding general, the northern border would have fallen to enemies by sunrise. The real question is, how did Lord Li Chen know about these weapon movements before the Ministry of War even filed the report? Unless he was the one coordinating with the assassins.
The entire throne room fell into a deathly, freezing silence. Li Chen felt the invisible noose tighten around his neck as the Emperor's eyes turned toward him, burning with absolute suspicion. The atmosphere inside the grand throne room was stretched so thin it felt ready to snap. Li Chen stood frozen under the Emperor's burning gaze, his fingers twitching against the fabric of his robes. He knew he was losing ground, but his ruthless mind frantically searched for a way out. He forced his voice to steady, desperate to salvage his trap.
Your Imperial Majesty, Princess Yuexin. S-words are nothing but clever riddles, meant to confuse the court. She claims she saved the northern prince. Yet Prince Murongyan has not been seen for days. Rumors say he is already dead from the poisoning. Without his living testimony, her words are nothing but empty hot air to shield a traitorous general.
Smiling coldly, not looking at him. Dead. Largely. Or is that simply what you prayed for when your assassins struck?
Before Li Chen could strike back with another venomous accusation, a sudden, thunderous crash echoed from the back of the hall. The massive, gold-leaf double doors of the imperial court were violently thrown open, slamming against the marble walls with a force that made the giant silk banners shudder. Stepping through the heavy threshold, cutting through the morning mist, was a towering figure. It was Prince Murongyan. He wore his heavy, dark gold battle armor, the metal gleaming with lethal intent. He didn't walk like a dying man, he strode forward with the terrifying, heavy steps of a predator returning to his hunting grounds. Behind him, two ironclad guards dragged a heavy iron chest across the floor.
Voice deep, booming, echoing heavily through the entire hall. Who dares claim the wolf of the border is dead in my own emperor's court?
A deafening murmur swept through the rows of officials. Some fell to their knees in respect, while others trembled at the sheer pressure radiating from the general. Li Chen stumbled backward, his face turning an ash-gray color as his knees nearly buckled under him.
Standing in the center aisle, bowing deeply to the emperor, then turning a fierce, deadly gaze onto Li Chen. Your imperial majesty, I am fully recovered, thanks to the swift, brilliant intervention of Princess Lin Yuexin, and I did not return from the northern borders empty-handed. Inside this chest are the decapitated insignias of the shadow guards who ambushed me, along with signed confessions and financial ledgers recovered from their base camps.
Kicking the iron chest open with a loud metallic crash.
Every single piece of gold used to fund my assassination came directly from the secret accounts of Marquis Zhou accounts that were authorized and stamped with the personal seal of Lord Li.
The words struck the room like a physical blow. Li Chen collapsed heavily to the marble floor, completely stripped of his lies, his power, and his freedom. Princess Yuexin stood calmly beside the fierce prince, her eyes catching his in a brief, silent look of victory. The trap was fully closed. The emperor's face was a mask of thunderous, terrifying rage. The heavy golden robes he wore seemed to tremble with the sheer force of his fury as he looked down at the shattered nobleman kneeling in the dirt. He raised his imperial scepter, slamming it against the stone dais, with a sound that echoed like a clap of thunder. Li Chen, for years, I treated you like a son of this court. I granted you wealth, title, and my trust. And yet, you used my benevolence to breed vipers. You forged military documents, poisoned my greatest general, and plotted to turn my own empire into a slaughterhouse. Guards, strip him of his robes, shatter his family crest, and drag him to the lowest depths of the black dungeon to await execution by autumn's end. Four elite imperial guards advanced instantly, their heavy iron boots clicking rhythmically against the marble floor. They seized Li Chen by his arms, tearing the silver scholar's hairpiece from his head, leaving his hair falling wildly around his panicked face. Realizing his life was completely over, Li Chen let out a raw, desperate laugh that echoed maniacally through the silent hall. He turned his wild, bloodshot eyes toward the crowd of trembling nobles, his gaze locking instantly onto a young woman in pastel pink robes who was trying to slip away behind the pillars.
Screaming frantically, pointing a trembling hand at Lady Baizu. Do not mock me, Princess Yuexin. I may be going to the gallows, but I am not walking there alone. Lady Baizu, your precious sister, she was the one who provided the poison. She was the one who tracking your father's daily movements. She begged me to eliminate you so she could take your place as the crown princess.
The throne room erupted into absolute chaos. Lady Baizu froze, her face instantly draining of all color. She dropped her delicate lace fan. It clattering uselessly against the stone floor, she rushed forward, throwing herself to her knees in front of the emperor, tears streaming down her face.
stuttering violently, crying, sounding desperate and terrified. Your Majesty, he is lying. He is a madman trying to drag an innocent girl into his treason. Sister Yuexin, please tell them. No, you may. I would never hurt you. I love you like my own blood.
Princess Lin Yuexin slowly walked over to the kneeling, sobbing woman. She looked down at Baizu with eyes that held no warmth. No pity, and no anger, only a cold, dead emptiness. She leaned down slowly, whispering close to Baizu's ear. Look at you now, Zuer. In my past life, I knelt exactly where you are kneeling now, begging you for mercy, while the executioner raised the blade over my father's neck. You laughed then. You told me that weak sparrows deserve to be crushed underfoot. Well, look closely. The sparrow is in the dirt, and the phoenix has finally returned to burn your world to ash. Out loud, stepping back, her voice ringing clear and cold. I wish I could believe you, Zuer. But unfortunately, I found your personal letters inside Li Chen's secret vault 3 days ago. Your handwriting is quite distinct. Your Majesty, the evidence speaks for itself.
The emperor did not even look at Baizu. With a dismissive wave of his hand, the guards swarmed forward, dragging both Li Chen and Lady Baizu out of the grand hall. Their screams of terror grew fainter and fainter down the long stone corridors, until finally, a peaceful, historic silence returned to the Jade Court. The debts of the past life had been paid in full. 3 months passed like a fleeting breath over the imperial capital. The autumn storms finally cleared, making way for a brilliant, golden winter dawn. The corruption that had choked the court for years was completely dismantled. The legacy of the Lin family stood prouder than ever before, secure and untouchable. Princess Lin Yuexin stood on the highest balcony of the Phoenix Pavilion, watching the sun rise over the vast empire she had fought to lifetimes to save.
Inner victorious thought. It is finally over. The executioner's block. The burning embers of my home. The cold palace walls. They are nothing but shadows of a dead timeline now. I didn't just survive my destiny. I broke it with my own hands. The court belongs to the living now.
A heavy, slow footstep echoed behind her. Heavy armor clanked softly as Prince Murongyang stepped onto the balcony. The sharp winter wind caught his long, dark hair, but his fierce eyes softened completely as he looked at the young woman standing before him. He stopped right at her side, looking out over the capital city.
Voice deep, steady, carrying immense respect and quiet affection. The imperial court is quiet today. Your Highness, the nobles are still trembling from your purge. They call you the savior of the Jade Court, but behind closed doors, they call you the Red Phoenix. They are terrified of you.
Smiling softly, her eyes gleaming with absolute power. Let them tremble, Prince. Fear is far more reliable than loyalty. As long as they fear the Phoenix, they will never dare to betray the throne again.
Leaning against the balcony rail. A dangerous, dark smirk playing on his lips. My Northern Iron Cavalry is prepared to return to the borders tomorrow, but my heart remains here in the capital. Our contract is fulfilled, Lin Yuexin, but I find myself wanting a new agreement, one that lasts a lifetime.
Turning to face him fully, her majestic crimson robes, catching the morning light. A lifetime contract, General. Conquerors do not serve under kings, and wolves do not sit on leashes. Are you certain you can handle a phoenix as your equal?
Bowing low, his hand over his heart in a pledge of absolute devotion. I wouldn't have it any other way. We took this empire from the snakes. Let us rule it together.
The music swelled to a spectacular, triumphant crescendo as the princess placed her delicate hand into the callous palm of the border vault. The past was buried in the mud, and a glorious, unwritten future lay stretched out before them. The Crimson Phoenix had finally claimed her throne.
Thank you for watching till the end.